Welcome to 221B Baker Street by way of the Southgate Bridge. I am your host, Zachary here, Sherlock Holmes fanatic, Sherlockian aficionado, whatever you want to say. And with me, as always, giggling in the background, I heard that.
Yeah.
It's everyone's favorite, regular, irregular Karen Vera.
Hello, Zach. Are you ready or not? Sorry about that. Apologies. Hey, but that title's a good pun for what the episode's about, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
So, it starts right off with apparently Sherlock thinks that Trent is having sex too loudly next door.
Yes, and the way he describes the sounds of this
oh jeez.
of this Congress, as he likes to term it, is quite vivid and picturesque, which is some kind of subtext for what he's going through inside.
Oh, yeah. And no offense to Richard Kind, he's not exactly someone I need to picture having sex.
Well, me too, but Sherlock has given us that favor.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but you can tell he's being because he's being his immature self, which he doesn't do often. Even Watson's picking up on it.
Yes. So he is trying to. I think Watson tries to prevent him from taking some kind of retaliation against Trent, right? There's no marching bands, no other weird things, creative things that Sherlock can get up to.
Exactly.
Yes.
But so they leave it there at that point, and then we get a. Now I don't, because I looked it up. This actor wasn't in another episode. I'm not sure exactly which firm he's talking about.
Yes, and it just said they said a few weeks ago. So I think initially I thought it might be a previous season, but apparently if their reference was a few weeks ago, maybe I don't know what was there. Knowing Sherlock, there's a lot of financial firms he is railing against. So I don't know.
It could be just a case from another. Maybe they're just doing a case we never saw.
Maybe that's right.
So we have him. It's he's saying that he's there with his son, and someone who has some experience with abused children. I could tell from the start was the way he was acting.
Yeah. The actor played it really well. I mean, it could easily be an abusive situation, or if you were to think unkindly, it could be a addiction situation. But I guess Sherlock is number one, very observant, and number two, an addict himself. He knows
I can tell that. I can actually tell the difference. The difference is how he's acting. Is how he can't look his father in the eye. He's afraid to move because he's afraid of what his father might do. Trust me, the kid. This guy did it. He did it good.
Yes, he was. And the son is a person of interest in the disappearance of the doctor. So this sets the case in motion, and Sherlock, of course, is on to what really is, the relationship between the father and the son.
Yes, I guess apparently, and this is actually, we find out later, this is an important point. Apparently the father was trying to get him off the payment. The doctor was trying to keep him on, which is an important fact later.
Yep.
And he said that because of the argument that he's a person of interest, not a suspect yet, but he wants, even though he hates Sherlock's guts, he wants his help because he's the best, and I love that. And we get this great thing where Sherlock says he can tell that the pain was the injury is originally from the father being abusive.
Yes.
So he says two things. One, I'm going to punch you in the face, and the sound effect the guy makes when he gets punched is just awesome.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And two, he'll take the case.
He'll take the case, yes. So that and even Johnny Lee Miller's face, his face of I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna hit you right before he does the hitting is again, this man needs an Emmy already, I think.
Have they even been nominated? I should check that if it's for this show.
No, he's never been nominated.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so he goes to talk to the wife of the doctor, and she doesn't think even though she did report him missing, she thinks he's actually off with another woman.
Yeah. So she's, not she seems to be not concerned that her husband has not been seen in recent times, and she even notices how she knows her cousin's a cop, so she knows how it works. That you don't tell the cops that she suspected him of being unfaithful. Otherwise, it would have it would have wrecked the whole investigation. So, but Sherlock says abandoning your business does not equal cheating husband. So, uh, it leads to another course in the direction of the investigation for Sherlock, because if he hasn't been unfaithful and he's abandoned his apparently successful business, what could it be? And the wife has a suggestion for him, for Sherlock.
Indeed. And we get a little hint here when she's talking about the prepping. She says that not only was he a prepper, which, as they say in the show, is one of those doomsday, the world is ending idiots, but she also says that he was heavy in the self defense. So and then there's a lot of these in this episode. Another little hint that he wouldn't just be taken, so it's a good chance he was taken by surprise if something happened.
Yep. So we get this idea of the reason why she's also not suspicious of her husband is because we get into the cleanest garage owned by any guy, I think.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the guy who doesn't do any work in his garage.
Because it's filled with his prepper gear. So we see, lots of supplies, lots of tools, and I guess this is how preppers look doing.
When they have money.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we get into that, the different kinds of preppers. That's also a fun scene that we get to discuss later.
Yes, and so they go to talk to someone else, the other doctor in his practice, Dr. Wells.
Yes.
And
played by famous person Seth Gilliam, right?
Wait, what? Played by what?
The Vincent Bader's partner is Dr. Wallace, is it Wells? And
I thought it was,
the actor is Seth Gilliam, who's a well-known actor. He's in The Walking Dead. He's a long-time character actor, and he's seems calm and quiet and not suspicious at all. But we need to put him down as a suspect despite appearances because he is a famous guest star. So that's always he'll be relevant later on for sure.
Yes. So he tells them that the redhead that was seen was the doctor.
Yes.
Was just a drug rep, and it's like her job. And I know enough about drugs that it's true. They'll act flirty and stuff, so it's very. And he doesn't believe for a second that he was actually doing anything with her. So they talk to her, and she actually has very pertinent information.
Yes, she comes with an attorney even.
And they think it's because she might feel guilty, but it really was she did something else.
Yeah.
That obviously compared to murder is not as bad. Turns out the good doctor was selling his medicine to drug traffickers.
Yes. Which, not on a rewatch made me realize it's probably he decided to get some extra income from drug dealing to pay for his prep, hobby.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't connect the dots when I first saw that episode. So, because, why would he decide to get into the drug business? But I realized because he cared about prepping more than his safety, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So, she's saying about he got in trouble, but at the same time, he was going to have an audit where they were going to check, and he would have gotten caught. So, she helped him to circumvent it, which put her, but like they said, the reason she did it because it put him in her pocket. So she believed if something happened, it was probably the drug traffickers.
Yes. So this is when they, I think Joan and Sherlock are splitting the work. So Joan looks into what's been on the phone of Dr. Bader. And while she's doing that, somebody calls upon the brownstone.
Yep, it's Fiona, and she wants to talk to Sherlock, and even wants to tell something off, but because her timetable doesn't allow her to wait, she will call upon him again later.
Yeah, so I guess Watson is like both these people are acting weird at the moment. Yes,
and so we get Sherlock saying that he's going to. And I'm not sure, but I believe the first time I heard about someone doing this is on the show Burn Notice, of using I'm forgetting the exact name of the chemical, but it's like because natural gas actually doesn't have a smell.
Yes.
But they intentionally give it a smell so you know when it's leaking.
Yeah, I heard this plot story on Friends.
That too. I was just thinking that one too when he's trying to hit on the pizza girl.
Yes, exactly that episode for sure. Yes.
There was a decent one.
Yeah.
So Sherlock wants him to get rid of him out of the house, and Watson's just like she's like chastising a child. Like, no, you're not doing it. What is wrong with you?
Yes. And so I think she finally puts two and two together, right? This trend, this whole, something's up with Sherlock.
Yeah. And even like the way he not only does he deflect, like he tries to make it seem like she's being insensitive about Fiona, and she doesn't buy that for a second.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the jig is up for Sherlock on what's going on with him, but I think it gets carefully laid out for us throughout the episode.
Yes, indeed, and we get also a tip about the case that it's unlikely that the drug dealers killed him because they're looking for him too.
Yep. Yes. So that drug dealing is probably not the cause for his disappearance, but we do get. Is it next? Is it the coroner next or?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the new one. Now I don't know if she's the official, like she's going to be in it from now on, or if they just wanted to have someone there.
Yeah, her name is Grannis, so maybe she's one of those that Haas said would work well with him, or maybe she's the new one. We'll see. I think I've seen her enough guest appearances on other shows, so maybe she might appear again in later episodes. So,
examining the body, they realize that a very specific tool was there, and Sherlock figures out that it's something a survivalist or a doomsday prepper would have.
Yeah.
And so they talk to the wife, and she's they never actually, not too much. She doesn't really talk about the drug because once they have the tool, they believe it was a prepper that did it.
Yeah. So I think I don't remember that part as well, but I think that's key is that knowing this prepper might be involved, she has also seen into the bank accounts, and that's where they finally break in the case. Yeah.
And so they look into it, and I mean, I don't know I know there's bunkers and stuff. I don't know if someone's ever tried to do a place like this for the Doomsday Preppers. I should have looked it up, but
you can't know, right? That's the whole catch. That's the whole beauty of the con is that you can't tell anybody, but it could be true, but there's no way of knowing. But give me your money, so at least you know. It's kind of metaphor for religion if you think about it. Ooh. Anyway. Because you can't know, but hey, you better pay up now.
Right.
But yeah, we get to know more about this very, very swanky bunker for preppers called the Keep, and and it's another opportunity for Sherlock to put on his priceless judgment on what he thinks of this, of foolish people like that. He'd rather melt with the masses, and there's a lot of funny lines in this whole section.
I'm actually reminded of something that was said on it's this show called Would I Lie to You? It's a British panel show.
Yeah.
And the actor said, like, he's one of the actors. He's like, if Armageddon happens, I don't want to survive.
Yes.
He's like if it happens, we'll probably be knocked back to if we're lucky, the Bronze Age. He said it's probably going to be a few thousand years before they really want in need of actors again. So I hope I die.
I think I would feel the same way as that.
For me, it would depend on which apocalypse. If it's nuclear, probably not. Like if it's something that you could technically survive in, I might. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, let me fry.
Well, Sherlock is gonna fry with us because he'd rather not survive either.
I like how he calls him a charlatan right from the start.
Especially if you're gonna hang out with people who bought into this foolish idea anyway. I think you'd rather die.
Oh yeah, yeah. He makes a good point. Like the kind of people you'd be staying with.
Yep, for a long time. So we do meet Ronnie. Is it Ronnie who has the bunker?
I think so.
Yeah, played by Frederick Weller.
I'm not that familiar with the actor, but I do know he was in the. Oh God, he was on that. He was on that show where he played the witness protection.
Yes, I know what you mean. I can't remember the name of the show, but I remember the actor's name. The actor's name is Frederick Weller. So right away, it's guest star number 2, and this is where the line of the night happens for me. When he your father walks in really great circles, and the night is his favorite time of the year.
Yeah, I have that written down as one of mine. So they're using Sherlock's father to get. Actually, I wasn't sure if I should mention this or not, but it should kind of show how it's almost a hint at how uninformed this guy really is, that he doesn't know who Sherlock's father is.
That's a good observation.
This guy's been talking to the elite.
Yes,
he doesn't know who because Sherlock's father. He's never really tried to make himself seem like the man behind the shadows. I mean, he's not like out in the open, but he's not hidden either. So someone who's out actively looking for the elite doesn't know about Moreland Holmes.
Yes, I think that's a good catch. And I think you and Sherlock are at the same speed, because I think that's probably a tip off to Sherlock. But I didn't realize it till you voiced it out during our discussion.
Yeah. So they're heading to the keep in the blacked out van. Even like I was thinking it, and Sherlock even makes a joke that they're probably going to die.
Yes, and that's even when Ronnie says, this is a tested nuclear facility. Oh, really? They tested it? Even Sherlock catches that little wrong terms of phrase to show what kind of hand Ronnie's playing. So I think when I was viewing the episode, I was like, going along with the train of thought of what how the bunker is, but I think Sherlock's already working double time on trying to say the jig is up.
Well, the funny thing is, it's a common mistake. It makes me think of like how people always say about roaches. It's like, it's the only thing. People make the mistake. Roaches can survive nuclear fallout, not a nuclear explosion. That's what they think. Like that. No, there is nothing. I'm pretty sure there is nothing on Earth that can survive a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that can survive maybe the edge of the blast, or like I said, fallout.
Yeah.
But not the. But if you're ground zero, you're dead. It's a nuke.
Oh, okay. That's like even more favorability of just dying when the whole thing just happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and while they take this one to actually talk a little about Fiona, because Sherlock reveals that it is indeed
the mechanics of the situation.
Yeah, that it's sex. That he hasn't had sex, and everyone, as people know, that long for him.
Yeah,
that would be a long time. But he's actually he wants to make it work. Now he actually thinks it's going good with her. He wants it to work with her.
Yes.
And so he's waiting until she's ready. And I love the way Watson says, you haven't had, before she can get it out, Sherlock calls, we have not.
Yeah, I mean, I love this whole exchange between the two of them, where Johnny Lee Miller's face is like, oh, when Watson tells, I'm proud of you, and he makes like this kind of grimace that is just 2 seconds long, but conveys all sorts of reaction to Watson. And 47 days? That's been a long time. So, and for Sherlock, who keeps exercised in every possible way, that is quite might affect his mental capability or not. But I think it's an important part of his process.
Yes. So they're getting the big tour of the place. Something I mean, Sherlock kind of makes a joke about it, but it's who the heck in any situation has an open gun vault?
Well, the kind who tricks people into giving them money for a fake bunker. That's what. So
someone said to me, "Don't worry, the gun vault." I'm like, I'm good.
I think Frederick Weller played it for this comedic aspect because he is such a dumb con artist.
God, yes.
That it's come around to being really hilarious.
Although we gotta get, I mean, it reminds me of the episode of Elementary when when it was the psychotic secretary. Like she actually gets to drop him because he has his ego. I mean, this guy, he thought he was the killer.
Yes.
He's confronting him in a secret bunker.
Yes. So, anyway, the conversation in the van leads him to the bunker where, you know, Sherlock busts out that everything is not what it seems at the bunker.
Even the dehydrated quail.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how many people that Ronnie toured and, gotten, I wonder how much cash is built up just from this fake con. And you know what? And if God forbid, a nuclear disaster happens, you can't get your money back, right? So this might be a better business idea than we realized. I don't know.
Well,
I wonder where
actually, if you can make the con work, because it's like if Armageddon never happened.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep. There you go. Indeed, but because Dr. Bader believed that the bunker was for real, and he had a drug situation.
Well, that becomes we
that
find
becomes
out later.
The key.
So I love how Ronnie is like deer in the headlights. He's like, I took your phone.
It's Sherlock. Oh my god. So yeah, that was funny.
Yes, and like I like interesting how it's like nothing's real. It's like completely facade.
Yes.
But as he's investigating, it turns out that through some evidence at the site that the murder did indeed happen there.
Yes. I mean, I don't know that again. That's such little crack on the flooring and they could tell it was blood. I mean, that has to be mighty powers of observation. But I guess when it all adds up for Sherlock and Joan, because if everything is Ronnie such a huckster, then all it's not what it seems, I suppose.
Yes, but according to Ronnie, what actually happened was he found the body,
Yeah.
and he couldn't, reporting it would have exposed the fraud.
Yes.
So he just dumped the body, and then he tells him that he's an injury that wouldn't let him do it. He wasn't even in the military at all, which is just great.
I know. I think now that we're discussing it, I think it's a nice achievement in comedy. This Ronnie character.
Oh yeah, and he's also saying that like the keys for the place were stolen, so someone could have easily gotten in there. This guy is just I love how stupid he is.
Yeah, and I'm loving it more and more. The more we discuss all the stupid things he does. So I guess this leads to, somebody else had to be with Dr. Bader.
Yeah. So they're doing maybe someone else who spent their money and maybe they found out it was fake and that's why they killed him. So they actually identified someone like a .com millionaire kind of guy.
Yes.
Who was on the message boards, and so they're gonna try to look into him.
Yes.
But before that, we get the scene with Fiona.
Yeah, and Fiona, in her memorized, well-timed speech says, you don't treat me special, which is good. Then now I think you're treating me special, which is bad. So let's break up. And,
yes.
And she leaves, right? As soon as...
Mm-hmm. Yep, Sherlock is obviously a little uncomfortable. I don't like when watching out that how they go, and she's like, we'll discuss it later.
Yes.
But they confront the guy, and it turns out he's actually a reporter.
Yep.
Like, I love when he says, I was happy it was a fraud, and he's like, please explain. And it turns out he was invested, because I love how it's like, he essentially's like, how'd you know it was a fraud? He's like, because it's odd. Like, of course it is.
Yeah. So that was also that actor who did fake millionaire turned reporter was also memorable turn. I mean the casting department of Elementary is also doing top notch work in finding even small bits have so much sort of perceived backstory whenever we catch them.
Now, one thing they do in this case that's really, really fascinating is the fact that, like, it's about, and this is something that's important about Sherlock which is some people have addressed, like, he's not he can't. He doesn't. He's not always right. Like he thought it was, but he obviously is not an idiot. He changes his deductions with the support of the evidence.
Yes.
And then realizes with this new information from the reporter that the keep had no money, so there's no reason for them. They wouldn't have that tool. They assumed, oh, it's another prepper. But then Sherlock realizes, wait a minute, the doctor was a prepper, so he would have had that tools, and he did.
Yep.
No, it's funny. This scene, I thought it was going to be revealed that the wife was the killer because she like found out of all the money he blew on the keep, and she just killed him or something.
Yeah. I did think about it because the wife, she's presented as very suspicious when we first meet her, but I didn't catch that. So I hadn't realized that. No. So that's a good observation.
Yeah. Well, obviously that ain't. I didn't think it too quickly. But here's what's great about. I mean, I think this makes the episode quite unique. Actually, so they call the other doctor in, and they confront him. It turns out because his alibi is shaky.
Yes.
But because first we thought it was the drugs, then we thought it was the prepper. But in a way, it was both.
Yes, it was both. So it was about the drugs because their business was in jeopardy, but at the same time the scene happened at the crime happened at the bunker, so it's sort of related to each other. You're right.
Yes, because he needed the pills, so he goes to the keep again. But since the keep is the fraud, it was the other doctor decides to kill him with the tool that he brought actually. Yep.
So I guess that was not a premeditated action. He didn't know that the bunker would be fake when he got there. So, and I guess he saw the writing on the wall and everything crumbling down. So, if Bader died on the spot, he wouldn't be discovered because the owner of the bunker wouldn't also reveal that the bunker was fake. So, he thought there was like a perfect crime, so-called perfect crime to commence.
Yeah, and there's a few things, just a really couple. He almost like a couple of things that got him caught. Although something I just realized.
Yeah.
I mean, Bader was a doctor, and he's all into the doomsday stuff. He didn't request to see the infirmary to see if it's well equipped.
Maybe they're taken in by the wine cellar and.
Exactly. Like that's the reporter says that he did a line like, "Oh, it's not ready yet," or "It's a clean room. We don't open it until doomsday."
Yep.
And so it shows the guy was gullible, and like you said, he might have even done the drug running to pay for the keep.
Yep. So
wait a minute.
What?
How much money in the pills? I didn't think.
200,000. 200,000.
So it's and the keep was about 100,000.
100,000,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a good chance it was for the keep.
Yeah. So you know what? It's all about foolish perceptions, foolish behavior, and sometimes it can have dangerous consequences. So that's I think everybody's behaving foolish, even Sherlock over Fiona and Fiona over Sherlock. It's just about foolishness and but again, it resolved quite smartly. Even I think only Watson spared from shenanigans, foolish shenanigans this episode because she puts two and two together.
Yes, and it turns out it was the doctor, and they catch him in the lie.
Yeah.
But I just love how it comes. Like they found a way to connect both aspects of the case. That's one of my favorite parts of the episode. But after that, we get to my other favorite scene in the episode, which I just loved.
Yes, and so Fiona visits Sherlock, and because Sherlock wants his chance to explain.
And a lot of people wouldn't be that fair to let him say it's like she and the way she puts it is interesting. Like even though they're not dating, she still will let him talk to her.
Yes, because I think she sees it as we can be friends, right? I mean, she feels that it's every logical reason why they could still be acquaintances, but Sherlock unloads and says some few things, right?
Oh, I love, and he tells her that I think you're mistaken, and he says, I mean no offense, and that he's stating a fact. He's not trying to say you're unobservant. You just made a mistake. He's like telling another detective, you made a mistake in your deduction.
Yes, and
And so
actually, this is what's going on.
and
Yeah.
yes, and he's he's saying to her, you are right that I was working hard, but it's not because you're different. It's because I'm different. He's telling her,
Yes.
I'm the weird one.
Yes.
I'm the one that needs to be good for you. And this actress is so good.
Yeah.
The slight, she just a slight change in her eyes when Sherlock says that, because she believes him for one thing.
Yeah.
And he also he makes a brief allusion to Moriarty, and I kind of want to see them. I want to see her talk about, I want to see when she finds out exactly what happened with Moriarty, Yeah. And also another thing I just realized, is Moriarty going to have a reaction to her?
That came up discussion in the Elementary fan group, and don't mess with Sherlock because you in danger from Moriarty if ever.
Actually, now while everyone of course goes to she's in trouble, but the thing about Moriarty is I think it would be a quite interesting turn if instead she's like, I like her.
Maybe. I mean, that's the beauty of this show's version of Moriarty. It could be a plausible and potential reaction, even though it's counterintuitive. But because the character is so rich, it could very well turn out to be that, and the story would work very well.
I just, I just love the scene when he hears her and I knew what she meant too. Then after Sherlock tells her it's because you're worth it, because I want to make this work, and she looks around, she goes, is Joan home? And when she said that, I went, oh.
Yeah, and well, you know what Sherlock was very romantic, and it was to her romantic in her kind of context and vocabulary, and so, well, I guess she responded very positively to that.
And I love how matter of fact she's like, would you like it? Would you like it? And it's funny because I would prefer a woman who is this fair, open, and she lets me say. I mean, this is like how most people I would prefer it, probably because again I am probably neuroatypical.
Yeah.
And then I love this because he gets flustered.
Yeah,
she flustered Sherlock. He's like, I don't not want to. And she just kisses him. Oh, I'm like, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this is well acted, wonderfully written, a thrill for us to see and enjoy. So even though I'm kind of frustrated that we're not getting any momentum yet on the Moreland side of things, but I'm sure that'll be fixed very soon enough.
Oh, without doubt.
But this whole romance, I'm sure that this is gonna call me crazy, but could this romance be a fallout once the whole Moreland drama happens? And
I'm just the writers are usually pretty good about. They're not like the type that they're not big on plot devices. No. They're not going to enter a woman just to. Well, I shouldn't say that because they kind of did that with that guy Joan was dating.
Mycroft. Oh no,
so
the boyfriend, the other boyfriend.
Yeah, right, they introduced him just to kill him off.
Yeah.
So. But I don't know. Because I would love for them to take the big chance and make it have the relationship continue, maybe even keep it.
Yeah.
Because this is their own Sherlock. This is their take on it, and that is something no one's ever done with Sherlock.
Yes, I applaud this kind of development because they have laid the groundwork writing wise very, very well, and so it's interesting to me to see where they take it and be unique. Make this version of Sherlock even more unique than they've done in the last 4 years. So I'm for it, even though if you ask the fans around, some people are horrified and no, they don't want Sherlock to be involved with Fiona.
I think that's very single-minded. And actually, I realized something during my rewatch. Of course, everyone who knows Sherlock knows even in the original canon, he refers to Irene Adler as the woman, the one who got him, the one who went up to him. But I think that Fiona could be viewed as the woman, but in a different light. That she's the one that she doesn't throw him off his game. She makes him better. She completes him. She'll make him want to be more. And so she is the woman. And I'm looking for. He kind of almost says that to her.
Yes. So imagine that the writing task of finding of creating a romantic character for Sherlock that fits the each other's jagged edges so well. So that's actually a very difficult task, and especially with the familiarity of Conan Doyle's works to a lot of people, and the way Sherlock is supposed to be perceived, and so they are taking a very strong artistic risk with this, Fiona, and I commend it, and I'm all for it.
Well, it's such a. I mean, it's like progression was such a thing in television. It's so backward in something because people who are of that nature usually they're shown as not ever being like if they can't be in relationships, they don't have sexual desires, which is just ridiculous.
I guess it's possible, but some people stretch it too much over too many episodes that the bottom falls out of that kind of character. So they found a balance for it for sure.
I believe so. This episode I liked immensely. The case, the way it kept going back and forth, and the clues. Like I didn't see that ending coming because I figured, oh, it's the drugs, oh, it's the doomsday stuff. But it's in a way it was both.
Yes,
and I loved how they did it.
Yeah, the case kept us curious throughout. I also enjoyed that very well from a writing perspective. So well done.
And of course, as we just said, the stuff with Fiona was awesome.
Yes.
So, my favorite lines, you actually mentioned one of them. The Ninth Circle. The Ninth is his favorite this time of year. That was, and I love how stupid Ronnie was. He's like, what? And then my other favorite line is socialist zombies coming to eat their guns.
Yes, that also got a mark. For me, sake, write that as one of the best quotes of the episode. So that whole monologue actually about Sherlock, making fun of the keep right away from its little PowerPoint presentation was hilarious. I also like the line when they were on the car ride to the bunker. Sherlock says, "Oh, that's a railway track," and then Watson says, "I have feeling my butt."
Oh yeah, I almost made that one too. That was great.
And then when they get found out and that Sherlock has a second mobile phone, and he says, "Got a signal? Maybe you should put that on your website."
Yeah, that was good. That was really...
it doesn't sound much on just from the dialogue, but the delivery was just amazing. Yep, and Belle even got a good line this week when the guy says, "I have nothing to say or confess." Oh, and then he says, "You'd be surprised how many confessions start out that way." So again, that was also Belle is working as many lines as he can because he doesn't get. It was Belle light, cop light this whole episode. So
indeed,
yeah.
So is there anything else you want to add for your final thoughts for the episode?
This was. When we think the writers are taking us in a certain direction, they find new roads to discover with Sherlock and Watson, and I'm glad it got renewed for a 5th season because I'm very, very excited the way they've developed Sherlock over the 4 seasons. So, and this is the kind of episode that shows it very well without overstepping the Conan Doyle universe, but at the same time it feels very fresh. So it's a ready or not excellent episode.
Without a doubt. So that's all for this week, folks. It's time for us to Karen depart for the game is afoot.